how's it going? My name's John and today we'll be making Bun Cha Ha Noi. I had this dish for the first time in 2014 when I went to Vietnam, and I was just blown away by how amazing this dish was. It's sweet, salty, savory, the pork belly is crispy, the herbs are fresh, and it was just mind-blowing. First, we'll be pickling the vegetables. So I'm peeling the carrot, so I'm gonna cut the ends off of the carrot, and then from here, I'm gonna cut the carrot in half into like sizes that will fit in my hand. So I'm cutting indentations into it. So this part is purely for decoration. There's no culinary reason for it other than to just make it look pretty. And then I'm gonna use the mandolin to cut it very thin and evenly. So for green papaya, I cut off the ends, lay it up flat, cut right through it. After you cut the papaya in half, you're gonna wanna scoop the seeds out. We're gonna cut it in half again and cut it lengthwise, like so. We can peel the outside skin off. You can also use the mandolin to slice it to get the uniform shape, and then go ahead and add it to your bowl of sliced carrots. So if you can't find green papaya in your market, you can also use kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is in the radish family, and it has a pretty light flavor, not too noticeable. So we're gonna go ahead and peel this after we cut off both ends. So kohlrabi has a slight radish flavor. It's not too noticeable. Green papaya definitely has less flavor and more of just texture-wise. Go ahead and just run it through the mandolin, just like the carrots or the papaya. Then from here, toss it in with the rest of your pickled vegetables. So to make the pickling liquid, I'm gonna be adding water and sugar into my pot. Also, vinegar and salt will go into, it doesn't need to boil, just as long as the sugar and salt are dissolved, the pickling liquid is ready to be poured over the sliced vegetables. I'm gonna toss it around a little bit, and then I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap. So I'm gonna be dicing up the shallot, which will be going into the meat patty. I'm gonna wanna fine dice on the shallot. So after I've minced the shallot, I'm gonna smash the garlic, and I'm gonna mince it as well. I smash it like so, mince it until it's fine. And this garlic is for a couple purposes. It's gonna be going inside the bun cha meatball, as well as on the side, served on the side with chilies, and add it into the mixing bowl where I'm gonna add the ground pork and everything else to make the bun cha patty. Next, I'll be slicing some Thai chilies. When I slice the Thai chilies, I like to slice it at an angle because it looks nice. And these Thai chilies will go on the side, and depending on how spicy you like your food, you can add it to your broth. So I've got about a pound of pork belly, which is good for 3 to 4 servings. I will probably cut this in about thirds. And then from here, I'm gonna cut against the grain so it'll be more tender, and cut it pretty thin. These are just gonna get a simple treatment of salt, and then we'll be grilling them on the cast iron pan. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it on the cast iron so it can grill. And that sizzle is what you like to hear. You don't want it too hot or else it can burn, but you just want the meat to render and get a little bit crispy. I'm gonna go ahead and season it a little bit more. Okay, so we're gonna be making our nước màu, which is a caramel, and this is going to be added into our meat mixture to give it some color and caramelization, as well as some sweetness. So I'm gonna grab brown sugar, into the pot it goes, as well as the water. And you're gonna just let it dissolve. It's gonna slowly start caramelizing, and it's gonna turn a golden color. And then after that, you're gonna add a little bit more water and stir it and take it off the pot before it burns. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. So you're gonna wanna do this on about a medium heat. That way you can control the temperature and the process of caramelization more. If you have it on too high, the outsides of the pot will burn and darken, and you'll get a bitter flavor. And too low, you won't achieve the caramelization you're looking for, and it'll take forever. So medium is the perfect spot. So When you have the water measured out, you're gonna be adding about 3/4 at first with the sugar to let it boil and caramelize. And then the remaining 25% we'll be adding afterwards to help cool it down. This takes about 4 or 5 minutes depending on the heat. Like I said earlier, you gotta keep an eye on it or else it's gonna burn. So it's looking good. I'm gonna add the rest of the water in, and then this is when I'm gonna start to whisk it and stir. And when you add the water in, you're gonna wanna be careful because the sugar is really, really hot and it might scorch and burn you. So at this point, I'm gonna turn off the heat, stir, cool it down a little bit. I'm just gonna let that cool, and then I'm gonna add it into the meat mixture once it's cooled. So the veggies on the side are an important part of the meal. It adds freshness and herbaceousness. I have some lettuce, some perilla, some mint, cilantro, and lime wedges. So next we're gonna be making the broth. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the water, pour it into my pan, the sugar, the vinegar, and the fish sauce. And then I'm gonna squeeze 1 lime into the broth. I do it over a strainer just in case there are any seeds that I don't want to go inside. So the broth is less acidic. It's more of a light, watered down version as you would see in the South. That's what differentiates it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and heat it on medium heat until all the sugar is dissolved. And after that, I'm just gonna leave it on low heat. So now we're ready to make our meat patty. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the ground pork, dump it into the mixing bowl, which has the diced shallots and the diced garlic from before. And then I'm gonna add the rest of the ingredients, which will be oyster sauce, fish sauce, kosher salt, and the caramel that has been cooled down and that we made earlier. And from here, we're just gonna mix it all together until everything's incorporated. And then we're gonna let it marinate for a few hours before we grill it. Looks delicious, smells good, and it's gonna taste just as good. And you're gonna wanna give it a good mix until it becomes incorporated together and almost has like a tacky, sticky feeling. And that's how you know it will be a good sausage mix. I'm gonna wrap it in plastic, throw it in the fridge. I would wanna at least marinate it for at least an hour minimum, just to let the flavors develop. And then whenever you're ready to cook it, I would pull it out of the fridge at least 30 minutes beforehand, just so that's not freezing really cold and it can come to room temperature and it'll grill nicely and cook more evenly. Oh, it looks really good. Can't wait to eat. So the noodles we use for Bun Cha Ha Noi are the rice vermicelli. So what I like about the Three Ladies brand, a lot of the times with rice noodles, you're gonna need to soak it in cold water prior, but with these, you can just go directly into the boiling water and it's good to go. Into the basket it goes, and I'm gonna set my timer for 8 minutes. All right, so the noodles have been boiling for about 7 minutes and they're about to be ready to come out. So let all the water drain out. The ice bath, like so. Just gonna stir the noodles around to cool them down. And once they're cool to the touch, gonna drain it one more time. So the pork belly is ready. It's nice and crispy, and I like to cook it until it's crispy because it adds a good mouthfeel to the rest of the dish, because the rest of the dish is pretty soft and it adds some crunch and interesting texture into it. All right, so we're ready to start forming the meatballs. I like to slap it together like this so they can form nicer into a patty and then put it onto the grill. I bought about a pound of ground pork So that's good for about 3 to 4 portions. So the patties have been grilling for about 3 minutes and I think they're ready to flip. Nice, look at that golden color. That's what we're looking for. Smells so good, can't wait to finish. All right, it's time to eat. I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the meat patties onto the plate. Looks so good. So you can eat this dish a couple of ways. You can eat it deconstructed with all the ingredients separately and just dip it into your bowl with your meat, or you can assemble your own bowl with whatever you like on there and pour the sauce over the top and eat it that way. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy my recipe for Bun Cha Ha Noi. All these ingredients and more can be found at bolsabuy.com. We'll leave a link.